Hey YouTube, this is Dave with Midwest Adventure. Thanks for watching. Today I want to talk to you about heater core issues in the Jeep Wrangler JK, and this particular one's a 2010 Rubicon, but they're about all the same. We started having problems with our heat not working very well. Started on the driver's side and kind of slowly progressed to just not very good heat anywhere overall. Did a lot of research online, learned a lot. You'll see a lot in the different forums if you search about the JK heating issues. Some are saying sand in the core, just simply plugged up. Some have had good results with having it flushed. Talk a little bit about why I decided to do this myself, and we finally decided that the heater core was bad. It's going to need to be replaced. We tried flushing it. That didn't work for us. I've heard it works for some guys. You'll see later in the video the pictures of the heater core after I cut it apart, and you'll understand then why we've seen heat only on the passenger side and hardly any on the driver's side. So we'll take a walk around the Jeep here and I'll show you some different things, different tips and tricks. It's not the perfect way to do it by any means. It's a very challenging job. You need to decide if you're willing to do that. It took me about 2.5 days, I would say, to do it. I think Jeep in their factory manual says they do it in about 8 hours, but they were thinking they were going to charge over $1,000 to do it. So I'm not sure that it can be done in 8 hours. Maybe it can if you have some practice, but I took my time, and it's very involved. It's not that difficult. It can be done. You just got to keep track of what you're doing. So I'll run through this kind of step by step, what I did and how I did it. Hopefully it helps you if you decide to do this yourself. Okay, a little walk around here to show you what we're doing. First thing I would do is the night before you decide to do this is disconnect the battery. That will help you with your airbag issues, and hopefully you don't have any issues with the airbag if you do disconnect that battery and let it set for a while. Another thing I would do prior to starting this project, or I did, is I got a subscription to All Data DIY. That's at alldatadiy.com. And that will just give you a lot better information than just a typical service manual that you buy at an auto parts store. It doesn't tell you everything, but it will give you a lot of specs on things. It give you a lot of part numbers on things. Overall, I think it's around $50 a year, or for 5 years, and it's only $35 for an additional vehicle. So I have most of my vehicles on that. And I don't do this professionally. I just do it yourself. I fix most everything myself. So it's very helpful. The first thing I would do to start on this project was I would take the top and doors off. I worked on mine for about 2 days, and then my wife came out and said, you know, you wouldn't have to use a flashlight in there if you just took that freedom panel out. That light right above you would sure help you out. So that's the first thing I would do. You need to remove everything basically from the back seat to the bare metal of the firewall, and I'm only partially kidding there. You do have to take that box out, the heater box out that's behind the dash, so it's quite an involved process. So the more stuff you get out of the way, the better. It'll take you a little longer, but it'll give you a lot more room to work. If you do take the seats out, and take the doors off, and I would assemble a bunch of Ziploc bags and label them as you go, so that you can put screws in. You're going to have thousands of screws and bolts and no idea where they go unless you have some way to identify them. So that's another thing I would do right away. As you can see, I don't have the top off of it right now, or the doors off, but you can see how dark it is, especially if you were going to work under the dash, which you'll spend a lot of time under the dash. The first thing I would do is this console. You'll need to move your transmission shifter back and forth, probably all the way to the low 1 position, to get that console out of there. So after you get seats out, I would get that console out. You want to do that before you do the steering wheel, or I would, simply because you want to block those wheels so the Jeep can't move, and get that console out of there while you can still maneuver your gear shift lever, because you're going to have to disconnect your interlock, and you're also going to have to remove a lot of things underneath the dash, so you won't be able to move that shifter at a certain point in time when you get to that point, like if you've already taken your column out. So I would get that out of there first. The next step, you want to hog tie that steering wheel down so that it can't move any direction, so that your airbag is not disturbed. You don't want to ruin your clock spring, and I don't know a whole lot of the details of that, but I've heard that you can ruin the clock spring in there if that steering wheel moves. So I would tie it securely to everything possible around here, around all of your levers, and I just used zip ties connected together, and then you'll want to just start removing everything in sight on the dash. The transmission or transfer case shift lever, you'll need to get it back in the neutral or low position, and I've heard of all kinds of elaborate ways of getting that knob off there, from a strap to pulling it. I was simply able to just move it back to the neutral or low position and get kind of straddle of it, grab it, and pull it straight off of there, and it came off fine for me. So I didn't have a problem with it. So that's the way I would recommend doing that. And then just remove everything till you get down to bare metal on that. I've heard that you can take that box out without completely getting the dash out of there, but it's going to be a challenge. Okay, we're back under the hood here, showing you a few things that you'll have to work on. The electrical distribution box here will have to come out. All the wires will have to be pulled back through, or at least loosened up through the firewall. Battery obviously has to come out and under the tray to get down to where you got to go. Heater hoses back in there, and then back in there by the trans dipstick, there's several bolts that got to come out that are through the firewall. So most all of this wiring here you're looking at had to come out of there and somehow move either through the firewall one way or the other. So that's quite a challenge. This first shot is of the dash on the passenger driver side after the dash cover has been removed. This is looking more towards the center of the dash after the dash cover is removed. This is under the hood, the electrical area. And this next one is by the glove box, looking towards the center. This is you can see the heater core tubes there just behind the glove box. and a couple of the actuator arms in that same area. This is also under the hood after all the electrical harness has been removed. And this next one is the Jeep after, down the bare firewall, looking from the passenger side. This is looking from the driver's side after the heater box has been removed. And this is also from the driver's side. These next pictures are after the heater box has been removed from the Jeep. You can see the heater core tube sticking out of the back of the box there. And also in this picture, still in the heater box itself. This is the view of the part of the heater box. And the heater box in the fan area. And the heater box, you can see the heater core tube sticking out there. And this is after it's been removed from the frame, and you can see the heater box or the heater core is loose there. You can see the frame laying in the background. Box has been disassembled. Another shot of the heater core tubes. This is after I had the heater core removed. I cut it apart to see what it looked like. Cut it in a couple different sections. Here you could see the cut it in half. You can see the manifold areas. And these next pictures are of after I cut the individual sections apart and open them up. You can see all the sand and debris that's clogged in there. That's another section that's been opened up. And this one you can see the section opened up with a manifold tube on the end. And this is a section that's just been peeled back so you can see all the debris and inside of it. The way it's clogged, there's no way you can get water through it and get any heat through it. Quick wrap up. If you decide to do this project yourself, you're having problems with heat only on the passenger side, I'm pretty sure you can see by the pictures it's caused by the heater core being plugged up. And it's definitely doable by a do-it-yourselfer. It is quite a challenge. It'll take you probably twice as long as the factory shop is going to take, but it can be done, and it will save you a lot of money. So I'm sure I forgot something in this video, but if you have any questions, comments, whatever, just let me know in the comment section below. Like I say, this is not the perfect way to do this, but this is the way I accomplished it, and it worked very well. We had very good success with it. Have great heat now. Probably had about 80,000 miles on the Jeep when we started having problems with it. We got well over 100 now, and it's done very well, so that was a good thing to do. So thanks for watching Midwest Adventure, and check us out. Check out all of our other videos. Thanks.